Hey guys. Okay, there it is. Have to see it. That's what this looks like. Hey guys. Okay, there it is. Sorry, I'm testing this out right now, but I'm gonna do a video. I'm just trying to see how it works. Okay. There. Oh, there it is. All right. That is cool. Okay, I want that to be the screenshot. All right, Kitty, you're gonna have to get down. All right. Now we can start this. I just had to see what was going on, what it looks like. And let's go back to single. All right. So, Melita, we are up late. I'm gonna go. Oh, shoot. I didn't even realize it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And why are there 4 people on right now? Right? So, I make my own hours, self employed, have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. I wake up when I want to. I don't open my calendar up for my coaching clients and real estate investing until 12 o'clock. So sometimes I do stay up a little late because I can. But that's not what this is about. This is about some people don't even know when we're calling women masculine. They have this idea in their head of Sigourney Weaver when she was an alien. That was a very masculine looking woman, masculine actions. But the thing is that they have not taken the time to learn exactly what does it mean to be in your feminine energy. And you saw my last video, are Black women masculine? No more so than all Western women. Western women. African women are still very in their feminine energy. Asian women are still very in their feminine energy, especially the ones not born here in the Western world, but back home. So when someone's saying it, I think the men, as much as you don't like it, do know what they're saying. They're also hurt too and can't say it in a way full of compassion and space. They say it with anger versus being able to rise above that, heal themselves, and be able to just recognize the situation without all the emotion, right? But there is a feminine energy. And I'm telling you right now, I was very masculine in my energy. So I'm not coming to you acting like I always knew this, right? I'm not coming to you in any of those ways. I was very masculine in my energy. I still am, but there needs to be an understanding of what they are. And I want to break those down to where I even got the idea to even look into this. It was not by me, okay? It came to me through my spiritual guides. If you've been listening to me and know who I am, I talk about I channel different spiritual beings. I channel and heal with angels. I channel and heal with my ancestors. I channel and heal with wizards, fairies. I know that sounds a little crazy to you guys, but it's true. Jesus, I heal with him. I do healings with, there's so many people out there. I don't do them with every spiritual being out there, just like my crew of like 20 that I developed a relationship with. And so 2 years ago, I was approached during a healing session when I was channeling the angels. There was a spiritual being that stepped forward, and it was the Goddess Oshun. So before this, I had no idea of this concept. She stepped forward and we started communication, and it was all about getting in touch with the divine feminine. I had no idea what that was. I didn't know I was masculine in my energy. I was just Lisa. This is how we were raised. In this Western environment, we are raised as women very masculine. And the masculine men are doing what they're doing, but I'll get into that later. So because of that, all of us, when we get in these relationships, we're either getting like me and my first husband, even though he was a provider and protector, he was still very feminine in his energy. And it's okay to have a balance of it, but also it is optimal, right? So you be basic and it's a 50-50 energy. If you want to be optimal, you're in your feminine and he's very masculine. And I want to break down what it is at a basic level and then an upgraded level, right? Because you guys know me, when I talk about things, there's basic and then there's upgraded, right? So we need to be able to get these things down. So I want to go into it. And I found 2 images that show exactly what this means. And I also want to break it down because I know there's some women out there who are like me, very much in our masculine energy, not knowing it at all, because we think being feminine is just putting on some lipsticks and doing our hair and wearing a skirt and a dress. It is so much deeper than that. That is nothing. There's a lot of girls with makeup and putting on dresses who are very masculine in their energy. And the interesting thing is, we've been telling the men that they're all wrong. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, calling us masculine. And they were actually very right. Now, the way they present it is through a lot of anger, and they need to heal that. Through a lot of hurt, through a lot of, they're messed up themselves. And they're saying it, but not from a place of empowerment, right? So it's one thing if they were in our community, especially Black men and Black women, if the Black men who are very angry about this were excelling, building their communities, doing really well financially and things like that, I think it would come off a little different, but we don't see the movement in there. We see all the movement on the women's part, and we need that masculine energy to be business owners, right? And we use that masculine energy to excel in school. So we use all of that masculine energy, and I'm going to show you the graphics in a moment for those who want to learn about it. Because all of us are walking around very masculine energy, which is why when one of us takes the time to learn those skills, it's very magnetic. And men from all over are like, what is this energy? Why am I strangely attracted to that girl? So I'm going to break it down to what our roles are in the spiritual primordial essence. When I say primordial, that was when we came into being, how we were set up to run. And when we run like that, and I just have to tell you from my experience, it is optimal. The men love it. You like it, so you can just relax and just be and feel your emotions. You honor your emotions. You get even more in touch. So being in touch with your divine feminine, you become more in touch with your just relaxing, less stressful. But you also, what's the word I'm trying to look for? You become highly emotionally intelligent because you learn how to, instead of react, you learn how to just tap in, read, understand your emotions. And so when they're like, oh, you're being emotional, we are emotional beings, but there's nothing wrong with that. The only time it causes conflict is if we don't take the time to be in our feminine energy to learn how to decipher, sift through it, go through it, understand it, and then express our boundaries with strength, right? So that's the only time it messes up, is when we're not taking the time in our feminine energy with those emotions, so that when we respond, we're not responding out of anger, we're not triggered, we're not responding out of hurt, and we continue to just be without all of the past baggage coming along with us. So when we're in our feminine energy, it's high level of emotional intelligence. Now, all of you guys can understand the value of emotional intelligence, all of you. And to be quite honest, every man that I've ever dated, I'm not gonna lie, I've always attracted pretty good men, like high quality, very smart, intellectual, so whatever. All of them had very high emotional intelligence, which is funny that attracted me to them. So even then with my manifestations, I'm like, universe, bring me, scripting, bring me emotionally intelligent men. And then it's funny, as I'm going through this process, my emotional intelligence is rising to a high degree. So it's funny that in the need to connect, that which I needed was in the other partner. But you all can understand the value of being emotionally intelligent in business. You understand the value of being emotionally intelligent in your relationship. And that is what we get when we're in our divine feminine energy. We're not just reacting. We're not just rah, rah, rah. We're just not. We're not acting out of hurt, anger, jealousy, because we handle those emotions, process them, understand them. And that's not why we're not supposed to be in our masculine energy of go, 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 doing. I have to immediately respond. You're supposed to take your time and sift through the emotions before. You're supposed to respond, not react. Okay? And the way I'm using that is reacting is just gut. Let me just tell them what I want. Responding is being methodical in your feminine energy, sitting back and then doing it. And it's just being. So I want to show you a few graphics so to make this really clear. So when I say women are in their masculine energy, can you guys see it? Let me see. I have to see it on my site to make sure that the screen share is on. Okay, it's not on. Let me turn the screen share on. Share screen. Ah, there it is. Yeah. Okay. I'm using this for the first time, guys. 2 o'clock in the morning. So I want to explain this, right? Without context, this is a little like, what are you saying? So I want to give some examples of what this looks like. So now when I say a woman is in her masculine, you're going to understand what I mean by that. And when I say a man is in his feminine, you're going to understand what I mean by that. And you're not going to get upset. You're just going to acknowledge. You're not going to be acting from an emotional place. So masculine energy, which I use in my business, is doing, thinking, analyzing, right? So when I'm in my business, I've built a real estate investing business. I built a real estate investing coaching business. I built, I have books, all of this. I was in my masculine energy. And this really helps in this masculine world. It's how we were taught. More and more, I'm incorporating more of this feminine energy, but for the most part, I'm very masculine when I'm building my business. And I save my feminine energy in my business for the people. And honestly, that's how it should work. Getting things done, masculine. Use your masculine energy. Be aggressive, think, control. I got to do this, write things down. Okay. But in my business now, when it comes to people, I switch to feminine, which is taking my time, not being rushed, feeling people out, hearing what people have to say, not being so go, 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 go with them. And that has an event because my my virtual assistants love me. People who are vendors now love me, right? Because it's taking that time to be intentional about not telling them what to do, not analyzing, listening to what they have to say, and being an open receptacle. Receive receptacle. And when you're an open receptacle, you're just listening and you're being intentional about taking the time to listen, to invite them in without all the masculine energy I used to have, which is like, give me this, go there, hand me this, when is this done? And I wouldn't say it with that, but I wasn't taking any time to hear what they had to say. I wasn't taking any time to sit and just listen. It was always what I wanted to do very much in my masculine energy. So when I say you're a masculine woman, don't get emotional about it. I can be a masculine woman. I have a masculine way of manifesting. And it's okay. What we needed to learn, the balance, is when it comes to the people, switch to your feminine. It is a superpower. It's highly attractive. I get heart emojis now from my virtual assistants. Like, it is not fun. And I love it because my heart's now more open because I've been working at that. Their heart are open because they feel that love and that glow. And it's this beautiful connection, heart to heart connection that you're making. Imagine for all these men who are out there, when you do this, instead of getting emotional, you're just thinking about it with intelligence, emotional intelligence, opening your heart and warmth, just being in their presence and listening to what they have to say and being open to them. Imagine the warmth they're starting to feel when everyone else, it's about their agenda. We were ultimately made to be that way with our male relationships. And I have to say that since I've been doing that, it is so much easier to be in a relationship, and it feels good, and I can relax, and it's just not all the stress. So when the feminine energy is feeling, how do you feel about it? I'm starting to ask my 4-year-old daughter, I'm teaching her these ways. How do you feel about it? Are you mad? Are you sad, excited, upset? What's going on? And getting those words out. It's expressing how you feel. I know in relationships, so I talk about my soulmate relationship. I'm not with him, but it was just, I was part of the learning experience. They brought him in my life, and I had to go in the divine feminine thing. And he just forced me to be even more my divine feminine. But that's what a soulmate does. And a lot of you guys out there are meeting your soulmates right now because you're telling me about it. And I was like, oh, soulmate, enjoy the ride. And it forces you, because when they're in control and they're in charge and you can't control them, it forces you to just follow. It forces you to listen, and you love them so much, and they love you, of course, too, that you are just open and curious and an open receptacle to hear and more about them. And all of a sudden, it's not about you all the time when you're with them. It's about, inviting them in and just enjoying that, like, beautiful, I call it a warm glow. It's like when your heart chakra opens and it surrounds you all in love. It feels really good. It's very warm. Warmth is like the word I would say. Very inviting, and just sitting back and seeing where you go. But it forced the issue when I'd get really worked up in my head. I was like, well, if you loved me, this would happen, but I wouldn't speak up. And like, it was just forced and forced and forced. And like 6 months in, I was like, okay, I just have to tell you this hurts me, or or I'm getting scared, or this is what I want. I had to be forced to be vulnerable and open. And I'm a strong woman, so I can be vulnerable and see how you take it. Do you make fun of me? Do you laugh? Do you care that I was vulnerable or I said I was hurt? I'm okay with like taking that. I'm okay with doing that in a way that I think maybe a lot of women would have a harder time being that vulnerable with, but that is the ultimate goal. And guess what happened? When you're vulnerable like that and you've chosen well, because we're going to go into the vetting process, is a big part of observing the men to make sure you're throwing things at them and you're observed just being state to see, like, okay, what happens when you do this or say this or reveal this, right? And in those state expressing those emotions. So what happens is that my level of intuition goes so much higher because your emotions, your emotional guidance system, you have such a better way of just deciphering and going, okay, so below the anger and the sadness or whatever, the hurt, what is it? Because you have to take the time to do that. And watch my video on like handling anger in the divine feminine way, because something happened a few days ago where I was mad at someone for pulling me out of my feminine energy and I'm like, when you process the emotion, it was like, I'm mad at myself for allowing, because women allow. So what are you allowing? Right? We allow. I allowed myself to be moved from that, but I was able to have the emotional intelligence and process that within about a minute or two, because I'm taking the time now to go inside and intuiting and just being, especially in relationships, and letting someone else have it. That does not mean I'm a doormat. It does not mean you are weak. It does not mean anyone can get over on you. It may seem like it to them because, on social media, you have arguments and people are like calling your name and making a point, and you can choose how to handle it, right? And at this level of emotional intelligence, if you come at me like that, I'm just not going to come at you like that. I mean, calling you names, what's that going to do? I can recognize you're angry and like get over that. Whereas 2 years ago, you would have called me a name. I would have gone into you about it, right? But it just comes when you get to this place where you're like, I mean, the fact that you would come at me like this says like where your vibration at and that you're at a lower plane. You're not dragging me down, right? So I can hear you. It doesn't affect me. Your names are, and we can get to the bottom of like, why are you so triggered about this? And this is literally how I respond. I'll delete you and block you if you're not being reasonable, because those are my boundaries. I'm not putting up with too much. It's only when you seem like there's some level of redemption I can get from this, then I will try, versus just blocking you from my social media. But when you get to that point of emotional intelligence, you're just not going to be reacting like a little kid anymore. And it is something that I did not realize when I was connecting to my divine feminine, that is the result. But you really do get to a place where you are are you the kid? Are you the princess? Or are you the queen? And it definitely gets you to the point where you're the queen in this relationship and you're not acting emotionally. So that is sort of the just being, following, receiving, creating. You get to that point when you practice this. And it's a practice because they were teaching young girls this stuff their whole lives, okay? And Western women, we've got this completely rearranged, and that's why we're not happy in our relationships. And when we're not happy and we're dysfunctional, it makes it easy for us not to be united and for the people to control us, right? So I think it's very deliberate on how dysfunctional it is. I'll go over here to see if there's any comments real quick before showing you the upgraded energy that we should all be striving for. Any questions about that, or any comments about your journey, or why are you even listening to this about divine feminine? If I hadn't been approached 2 years ago, this wasn't on my mind of a thing that I needed to work on. So I will say I was spiritually guided to this, and then that starts my whole journey. But why are you guys on this? And then I want to show you guys the upgraded one so you can understand what we mean when we say this. So don't get in a bunch if they're like, so now if someone said I'm being masculine in my energy, I'm like, okay, I probably am. I need to sit back a little bit. Right? Versus before, you get really triggered like you did something wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. We're here to get balance. Okay? So I want to show you guys the upgraded energy. And I really like this because you'll be able to see. Let me share my screen again. You'll be able to see why, especially in the Black community, it is what it is. So a balance, right? So my masculine energy wasn't wrong. I just wasn't balancing it with my feminine. And now that I am, my business is still running, but I'm also attracting the people I want. I'm also nurturing the people who work with me and for me. And that has its own social capital that I have in addition to the money or that I might be bringing in. So a balanced feminine energy is your changing flow of emotions, you're compassionate. And that took me some time to learn because I was a warrior. And I mean, all I saw was fight, connection, nurturing those connections. So everyone I talk to now, it's interest. I have so many sounds in this house, and I don't know if it's like a spirit or it's probably, if it is a good spirit, it's a higher being because I don't mess up low vibrational beings. Understanding, vulnerable. So I just heard a noise back there, but I'm always hearing noises in this house. Something fell for no reason. Warmth. Warmth is a big part of it. It's almost like when I do things now because of this practice I've internalized, if I see you, I cannot leave without smiling at you and telling you, like, thank you for being here. Like, your presence makes me feel good. Like, I appreciate the fact that you're here, all of these things. So it's something that becomes a part of you, but it's an energy people can feel, and it's magnetic. Paradigm, thank you for the smiley face. So I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. So that is what this cultivates. And can you imagine when you meet someone who's either born this way, because a few of us were, or you're just someone that's working at it, your heart chakra is open. People can feel when my heart chakra is open. I'm strong spiritually. So when my heart chakra shines, like it's almost physical. And so all they know is they're feeling like, why am I feeling so loved all of a sudden? Don't do that, kitty. So it's compassionate, connection, nurturing. So if you're looking at these femininity channels and they're only talking about looking cute and they're not talking about compassion, they're not talking about connection, they're not talking about nurturing, that's not it. Because you can be all dressed up and look cute, but you're not magnetic and you're not in your power and you're not creating the polarity that makes it so you don't get these knock down, drag out fights. You're not there yet. You're still a kid trying to get to be princess, trying to get to the queen. And ultimately, we all want to be the queen. And then when it comes to emotionally intelligent decisions, because that is soul growth that really makes a difference, not only for you, but everyone around you change. When, like, my brother might get up mad about something, and instead of me getting mad too and both of us arguing and screaming, you too. I don't know why my
welcome in, everyone.
Oh, I put a reminder. Okay. I don't know why my thing just starts to. So crazy. I don't like scaring you guys, but I think there's some little mischievous spirits messing with me. I'm gonna have to cleanse this place and call Archangel Michael, God, Jesus, and all my other friends to come in here and cleanse it. But let's see. That's like two supernatural occurrences on like one live stream. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to keep this about feminine energy and like explain it, but like they're getting a little bold. So yeah, if they're all just talking about be pretty, be cute, it's more than that, and men can tell. And a lot of these men are hurt and they're in their wounded masculine. We're going to talk about that here at the bottom, out of balance. And so you can't really hear it or take the advice, right? But they're not necessarily wrong. So it's funny on Facebook. So one of my friends saw my video and she went and asked a question on Facebook. Do you guys think women are masculine? And guys just summed it up just like that. They're like, yeah, it's like, I'm hard all day. And then I come here, you want to be hard too? Nah, pass. I can tell it a mile away. So it was very interesting that, like the normal man, he didn't have to be educated. He didn't have to be a scholar. He didn't have to be any of that. They immediately was coming through with like what they're seeing. And it didn't have anything to do with you wearing a dress. It didn't have anything to do with that, but they recognize they want this warm, soft, wonderful place. That feels good. It feels good for men. It feels good for women. That's why it feels good for me to create that connection and that heart to heart chakra thing that happens. Like it feels good for me. So I know it feels good for someone who's been out in the world and no one just sort of welcomed them with warmth and understanding, compassion, just being a nurturing person, and they can tell and feel that you're here to not judge them, but you're here to hold a space, be warm, and see them because they're a person and they have value, and you don't mind showing that. Or when they're angry, calming down and being like, hey, I don't need to get angry back at you because right now it's not about that. Sorry, I just had to say something real quick to the spirit guys. All right, so that is feminine energy in balance. Out of balance, controlling, loud, demanding, manipulative, trying to get people to do everything you want to do, what we call bossy, right? That is an out of balance feminine energy. And look at it. An out of balance So let's talk about a balanced masculine energy. But this is why our Black community, a lot of us, because we've written this and I didn't know about this. Okay. And most of us didn't. Like, we just really need to be honest. Most Western women don't, though. Don't think it's just a Black woman thing. Okay. It's not. We're all relearning and removing the scripting and programming that has kept us dysfunctional. It's up to you if you want to do it or not. Now, you guys are here with me still. So you're obviously on this journey to evolve and go from princess to queen like I am. So I thank you guys for that. So let's talk about good masculine energy. And, luckily I've been able to attract men who had it. But in my mind, I always was like, I knew what I wanted, and it would be someone who just had their stuff together. And that's what I attracted, right? Because that's what I wanted. That's what I attracted. That's what I looked for. That's what I knew I could get. I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, I don't have to there's 7 billion people. My mindset was always this. Don't matter what I looked like, if I was leveled up or not. 7 billion people in the world, I can find somebody. Come on. And I was open. I didn't just date Black. I dated a rainbow, had 4 boyfriends from Mexico. You know what I mean? Like, Asian, Black, white, like, I've dated it all. So for me, I was like, I'm open to it all. I'm going to find someone I match. So I attracted this. So I was lucky. So masculine energy, they're cherish you. They love they're decisive, direction, drive, but it's not toxic. It's not like obey me. It's just like, I'm doing this for us. This is the direction for us. That's that positive man. Us, not him, us. Okay. Protective, stability, support, right? They're never going to have you dim your light when they're in their positive or a balanced masculine energy. Like I said, I've just been blessed to generally attract those sort of men. They came in all different packages. Sometimes they were 5'8", sometimes they were 6'1", sometimes they were Black, sometimes they were Hispanic. But that's generally what I attracted to me, which is really awesome. And that was something I liked, because before I started this journey with the divine feminine, I was a whole person. I was a successful businesswoman. I was not warm, compassionate, nurturing, understanding, vulnerable at all. And that is a warmth and softness that people can feel and understand and spend time in, and want to spend time in, because they don't get that anywhere else. I want it, like, right now, I'm dating and I have a competitive advantage because I know this power, because, my spirit guides are like, this is next, right? And they've just never steered me wrong. But I don't care. I'm going to tell everyone as much as possible about this, because we have to do better. And when we are in this space, we make everyone else around us better. So as women, it's not our fault everything's happening, but we have the power, if we choose to embrace it and learn it and excel in it, which is not hard. Honestly, just embrace it. You don't even have to excel. Just embrace it. We have the chance to change everyone around us, because we have our boundaries. Now, I can be soft and warm and nurturing, but you still have boundaries. That's the one thing that's missing from this, because if you're going to be all this, does that mean you just let people poke at you and poke at you? No. The other part that needs to be here, and I'll probably write it myself in paint, is boundaries. So I'm soft, I'm warm, but if you come at me wrong, I will not allow it, and I'll do what I need to do. Sometimes that means walking away, leaving, blocking your number, disengaging. You don't have to yell to disengage. You don't have to do all that stuff to disengage. Now, you might do something else to, like, let them know they did something wrong, but boundaries are a big part. You know, if you're going to be this open, compassionate, nurturing, boundaries are a big part. And so I found this image, but, it's really lacking the boundary part. because the men appreciate that you have strong boundaries. And my soulmate says, I was waffling back and forth on like if I should leave him like another time because of, and he was like, I need you to be firm in your convictions. Lord, those were his words. He was helping me, my soulmate, to tap into my feminine energy. I need you to be firm in your convictions. He needed me to be a strong feminine energy. And that is how it came out with us talking. That is how the wording came. And that's what they need. That is what they need from us. Okay. And the right person, if you do get I guess I say pleasure of meeting your soulmate, even though it's going to be very emotional, it's okay to like be led and guided and understand, because he taught me so much. But he also was very balanced masculine energy. So, if they're a balanced masculine energy, but everyone who's been talking to me about their soulmate experience have been drawing a balanced masculine energy. Like the man that can tell you this and hit the nail right on the head on what you need to do to get into your polarity. Okay. Now, an out of balance masculine energy is aggressive, confrontational, controlling, right? So instead of supportive, controlling, critical, unstable, and not supportive, right? It's about him and his ego versus being able to be open to you. So when both men and women are out of balance, it's this huge battle because conflict does not get resolved easily. It's really messy versus when you're here, it gets very easily resolved because you as the woman, I'm not reacting. It might come, but I'm not reacting immediately. I'm sifting through, seeing if what he says makes sense or if it doesn't. And if it does make sense and I was in the wrong, like explaining, okay, that, I do see that, right? So instead of just like this, it's constant. I'm going to keep doing this. It's the yin yang. That's how we were made in this earth form, in this earth dimension. There are other earth dimensions and earth forms. In this one, this amazing one, where all this stuff is, this one's actually, I think, the most amazing because of the split and the shift. But because of all of that, you like I told someone on the last live, I've been in relationships for the last 2 years, going into this divine feminine journey, and there's no arguments. Now there are times we disagreed, and I left my soulmate or this guy, I broke up, but it was with boundaries, it was with space, it was with observing, and it wasn't reactional. Okay. So the reactional is more of the masculine energy. You're not taking the time to just be and feel and intuit before you make your decisions. Okay. And you get better and better and more closely involved with your emotional energy. So there's a softness here that they absolutely love. So it's not just about being pretty. If you're controlling, critical, demanding, and you can't just relieve, what happened is if you can't trust, on one part it's you, but it's also what man did you let in your life that you can't trust him? So the biggest part too about the women is that it's supposed to take us long time to court. We're not supposed to have that quick, oh, I met him and fell in love and love at first sight. We're supposed to take our time and sort of draw this out subtly to see if they are someone who cares about your emotions. So you're explaining how you're feeling, and you're doing that to see how they respond. Do they care? Do they disregard you? What are they doing? And so with that is how the divine feminine woman protects herself, is that she's constantly observing, constantly sending things out, constantly seeing if this guy's adapting. And if he stops adapting, well, you create your boundaries. Like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. And if this makes me uncomfortable when this happens, and this is just what I need. Right. And seeing if they can provide that. So that is that soft, warm energy. It's a beautiful energy. I'm going to go more into it. I have a whole video, like a whole page of notes on warmth and where that starts and where I started with it and now where I'm ending with it. And I love where I'm ending with it because the way you interact with people is just so much more Christ-like, almost. Like the love you're sharing it's spiritual. It's more at the soul level. And so I'm making this so you don't get triggered if you're getting called masculine, because I can be masculine. I have to call myself. I'm like, dude, I was really okay. Let me just be a feminine energy woman right now, which has nothing to do with what I'm wearing. I can wear pants and Timberlands, but if my energy is a woman, you're going to attract men from all around. And so what I want to stress to people that, and it's going to be more in my follow-up videos, you show examples, But what I'm going to show you is that when you are this person, you give someone a space to come to you, feel that. If they mess up and do something you don't like, you give them the space by taking your time, thinking about it, and then responding and how that made you feel to do better without telling them to do better. So you're releasing the fact that you cannot control, that's masculine energy, but you still can guide and get what you want by being vulnerable and expressing your feelings and making sure the person you invited into your life can honor and cherish and protect your feelings. I will be really honest with my ex-husband. If I would have known this, we may not have fallen apart. But also, on the other hand, there was a point in which he was not, like, I was unhappy and he was not able to do what needed to be done. So I could be in happier situations. And so the reality of that situation was I had to leave in order to be happy and to retain my happiness, because we were living in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is super racist and super classist. I'm not about any of that stuff. So I did not like that or the people there. But I could no longer trust that he could care for my feelings. I could no longer trust that he could regard my feelings with any sort of deference or preference. And so to me, that's over. And that was actually when I was journaling, like, what happened and trying to figure out, like, why he triggered. Like, yeah, I couldn't trust that he would be happy. I couldn't trust that this would happen. I couldn't trust anymore that I can trust him with those things. So that is our job as women, to take the time to make sure we can. If I knew then what I knew now, would I have gotten with them? So the other half of that, if I knew then what I would know now, we probably wouldn't have gotten a divorce, maybe, if other things were going on. But then again, who I am now, I am more in that feminine space. I want a more masculine man, and he was a more feminine masculine mix. He was a mix, but more on the feminine side. I didn't mind because he was a provider and very protective, and I knew, he'd do whatever it takes to protect me, and I could relax in that. I knew someone had my back. But now I do want that more masculine man. And it's funny. So, you're on these dating apps and, I'm manifesting, so I'm attracting them to me. And so, like, you meet some masculine men and you're just like, my whole body now reacts and their bodies react. And it is so interesting. It feels good though. It's a little bit of a rush. It's so funny. So a masculine man, it's like, I just sit back and my heart chakra opens, which is like a physical thing. And like my whole, like, any tension releases. And with a nice masculine man, and who I sense their energy is just super masculine, it's literally like, it's like a response. And they are like attracted to that. It's like, if I had it, because we're animals at heart. And so if it's just like in a wolf pack and there's an alpha male and there's like an alpha female that goes up to him, the alpha female immediately like bares her belly. Like, you literally do that, but like in human form, like you do. I think it's crazy, because when that happens, I look at the person differently, and I just sort of go off my masculine energy, and I'm just like, okay, you can lead. Where are we going? What are we about to do? And they just pick right into that because they can feel it. So they just step right into it and start leading and taking charge. And like I will say, if you're new to me, you might be like, taking charge, da 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 da. Like, look, I am a strong alpha female, okay? Like, just because I can be warm and inviting does not mean I'm strong, does not mean I'm weak-willed, does not mean I give up, does not mean I have all of those. I have them better than most people, to be quite honest, which is why, I generally cut a lot of people off a lot sooner than other people will. And I've learned to, like, now give people space and the time to see if they can do better. So anyone who's coming here, they don't know and they haven't looked at my other videos, you might go, oh, that's so bad. But I'm telling you, as a very strong woman who can be very masculine in her business and other parts of life, it is nice to just be able to relax. And it's nice to just be able to let someone leave for a second. It's stressful. Like, just let that man, like, just for the human interaction. So when I'm with females, I'm warm, I'm inviting now, and they love it just as much as men do, because who doesn't love someone who's warm and inviting, right? Like, who's going to run away from that, right? But when this immediate, if they're masculine men, I swear it's just like, If I had to describe it, you're like an alpha wolf to the alpha male. Like, and I can't even help it at this point. Like, it is energetic, it is physical, it's visceral because I'm tuned in and tapped into some of those behaviors. And I like it because it's a very physical cue to me that masculine alpha. This is the one. It's very energetic. I don't do that with all men, but the masculine ones who are alpha, like a true alpha male, your body will instinctively tell you. And you're not doing anything with them. You're not even flirting, but like you definitely, I do let them take the lead. Of course, like I said, we have a way of dealing with that. So when I'm in these relationships and I still need something, if I tell them I'm uncomfortable with that, it makes me feel nervous and I don't like it, like just going deeper into my feelings, those alpha men know, they listen. So that's why when you have people who are like a dad who takes care of everything, but he's like, she's the real queen, because when you tap into this and you have someone who honors that, if you say you're uncomfortable, they're not going to do it. If you yell at him, no, don't do that, you're yelling at someone you can't control, right? And that's not how you inspire someone in a feminine energy way. But you tell them that hurts me, that broke my heart, and that's what this makes me think. That is when they will do anything to protect and provide for you. Even if they were in their feminine, when you do that, there's something biological about it. So I can't even explain why, it just is. Try it if you don't believe me. So start talking. If you're in a relationship, start talking in terms of feelings and understanding versus any anger, and watch like the change that comes over them if you can do that. So that is what I wanted to say. Like, don't get worked up if you're called a masculine woman. I'm a masculine woman sometimes, although now I've learned to turn that off and be in my divine feminine. So like, if you do hear people saying Black women are masculine, yeah, we are, and so are white women. Everyone in America, most women in America, 90% of women in America are. And so we've been okay, like just being ourselves and in those, and we're like, oh, learning how to like resolve it. But like when you're in your feminine, it's a whole other ball game, and there's just the conflict is not there, the tension's not there, because you figured out the polarity. So you never you're not getting two repelling forces. It's like this, but you know, they each have strength. He's guiding, and that's his strength. Let him guide, right? Like, either get the right person so you can let them guide, right? And for me, like, I'm letting them lead, but I also know if I tell them I do not like something, it makes, for whatever reason, and I explain that to that man that we have chosen, or I'm just dating, I know that it will be honored immediately, right? So we're still strong. We're just not going at it like two bulls. And that is what we're talking about. And that is what the men are talking about. And they're not going to articulate it the way I do, because they're not studying this stuff. They just know inside of them, they know this isn't what I'm looking for. This isn't it. This is still stressful. Like, I am still stressed, right? And when we're both, I'm in my feminine and he's in his masculine. You remember I told you all of my stress just leaches away? His stress leaches away too. So there is profound healing for both of us, especially in the Black community, Black men, Black women, both of us. There's healing when, instead of the tension, the stress releases, and this is beautiful complementing energy that we both are learning and bringing into the relationship, where it goes like this, and we can both relax, which makes you magnetic, because you want to be in the presence of someone who does that to you. So they have a lot of their, so I call it their sacred masculine and the divine feminine. And the sacred masculine my soulmate did wake me up to a higher level of my divine femininity. That's what they're here for, which is the funny part. All they want to do is like know where to, like, they're the captain, but we're telling the captain where to go. Does that make sense? And if we say we don't like that, we don't like left, go right, he goes right. So the power is still held equally. It is just held differently when we buy into these principles. So I encourage all of you to really go deep into this. I'm going to do more videos too that have been guided in my experiences and that have been pretty amazing that I should share on taking this journey. But Like, you want to get to the place where everyone's relaxed and calm, because when we're relaxed and we're not stressed and we're not tense, isn't that where we're at our highest space? Isn't that when we create, where we're in flow, where love can come and build, where we feel comfortable being in each other's presence? It's not going to be a knockout, drag out fight. That is what the healing that can occur if we step into our divine feminine energy for anyone, and especially the men who in this world having a place they can go to be that person and the guide is great. Now, I'm literally going to do a whole video on the vetting process, because half of this being and observing and allowing and opening and warmth and compassion, you need to have boundaries and you need to vet heavily. And I love the universe guru because she comes from an evolution and biological world viewpoint. So I'm going to say again, the woman's job is to advance the species. And we do that by only procreating with the best providers. So being vetting your person, making sure you go with the one, it's kind of hypergamy or leveling up or marrying up. Those things matter, because you're literally saying, I'm only procreating with the men who have the ability to provide, so we can keep evolving in a higher state as a species. There's going to be some runts in the litter. What has happened in our community over the last 50 years, a lot of the runts and omegas, the men, and those are the males in the tribe who, like, they're nice and really cool with the women folk, but they don't do any of the hunting. They're just provided for. So the alpha and the betas and sigmas like mess with them. If you look at like a chimpanzee tribe, like the megas are like, they are made to be taken care of. We made it with too many of them. Now, they're the benefit of the omega males is that they make you feel good. So a lot of those omega males got in, and we weren't in our divine feminine space, being very discerning and very choosing. Our genetic pool of providers who can help keep evolving the species has gone down, and the rise of the omegas who are expected to be taken care of has gone up. That is our job as the divine feminine. So when they're talking about y'all just having kids with anybody who wouldn't stand and provide, they're saying it in a very mean way, but biologically, we are supposed to be the gatekeepers to that. Now, I understand how it happened. I'm not blaming. I'm just saying, like, we were not just supposed to mate with anyone. We really weren't. And now there's like a proliferation of the men who expect to be taken care of in society, and not enough alphas and betas and sigmas, right? And I'm not saying this in the fraternity way, although I don't know if it, but yeah, like that is our role, to be the gatekeepers, to make sure our genetics, only the strong really survive. And that's been lost. And I'm looking at these men, all they're good for is having babies, and that's it. They need to be taken care of. I was like, it's in their genetics. They weren't supposed to procreate. Like, you don't get with that dude. Like, he might get with other dudes, but you don't get with that dude. And that is what happened in our community over the last 60 years. And it's time for us to, there's a reason it's on everyone's mind. It's time for us to step into what this means. And I'm going to keep saying it, it's deeper than just looking pretty. When you can add this higher elevated spiritual aspect to it, you are a safe haven in the middle of a storm for every man who comes in your vicinity. And that is healing. It's healing for you to go back to who you are, and you can relax and be taken care of. I mean, so I'm in this group of women who are learning their divine feminine, and she's like, look, I was in that divine feminine mode, and I went to go pick something up, and the guy just licked it up. He was like, helped me to my car, got it out the trunk. Like, I could easily carry it. She was saying he stopped traffic, and he was like, you come on out. And there was like no one on the road. And she was just saying how, like, when you're in this, and I've seen this and experienced it too, when you exude this energy, you exude this being, right? This isn't fake at this point when you work at it. When you exude this, what happens is men pick it up, and they step right into that role of like taking care of you. And it's beautiful. Ladies, let's relax. Like, that's why I keep saying I'm loving dating. Like, like, I love it. Like, all these guys want to like provide and take me out and walk and hang out with me, because I'm creating this. I'm doing it very deliberately because I was told this is what we need to do, but I'm finding the benefits. It's like beauty for both parts. Like, don't you want beauty? Like, and you don't have to do anything except connect back to what this is. Now, I'm putting these videos out because there was so much I had to learn about this that was not in our programming, because we were programmed a certain way. So I'm putting this out because I'm like, if I didn't know, and I'm an intelligent person, I know other people don't. And if you don't know, how are you going to embody it, right? You just a whole bunch of trial and errors. And I'm like, no, we need accelerated healing in our communities. And it's not just Black men and women. There's white women who watch this who knows what I'm saying is true as well. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to take any questions right now. Oh, you can. PB says he feels, yeah, my heart chakra opens up now. And like, it's literally a physical thing. And like, even my energy, like the laying back part is like, because I'm talking about it, it just sort of, it's, you embody it. You're embodying it, meaning it's in your body. Like I said, when I meet a masculine man, a good one, right? My body knows who's a good masculine man versus bad. So if he has bad vibes but he was masculine, my body would not. I embody it. Like literally, my body will react like almost animalistic. Like I said, the wolf pack when an alpha female, PB, you just came, like when an alpha female goes and meets an alpha male in a wolf pack, she like bears her stomach. Like when I meet a true alpha male who's like a masculine provider, but on the good side, my whole body literally tension leeches and my shoulders literally go back. I can't even stop it. Like I embody that feminine energy to a T. And so it becomes an embodiment, like you are. So when I go out, like I'm telling you, like, even if I'm not dressed up, because I'm like, oh, I don't have my makeup and my dresses. Doesn't matter. I mean, they are smiling at me, trying to get my door, trying to get my car. And it's just because in this world, they like, it's almost like they have spidey senses and they can just go right here. Like, this is it. There's something here. There's something here that biologically is calling to me to help and pretend, defend and protect. Think of a wolf pack, right? Because we are basically, I don't know, I feel a lot of us are like wolf packs anyway. You know, it's like a wolf pack. It's just like instinctively, they're like, oh, okay, I got to provide and protect. That is in them. And so, and a lot of these people are like, oh, Black men this, and then they're like, Black women this. It's both sides. And I would hope that after seeing this, we can be more balanced. Both sides need to come together. Both sides are right, which is the funny part. But instead of like just yelling, both sides need to just focus on themselves. Like you need to focus on your own healing and your own masculinity and your own femininity. So that is what this sort of looks like and feels like. So if someone says you're a masculine woman, do not take it the wrong way. Understand it. Understand that eventually you're going to embody it and you're going to body it. Like literally your body will react. I have not had this experience yet, but I have a feeling if I went in the presence of a very bad masculine energy, but super masculine, I just have a feeling I'd probably curl up on myself. Like my body is reacting instinctively, but it's right on point. And that's where you get to. You're embodying your feminine energy. It is just part of you. And you can't erase it. And I must say, and I have to say, like the interpersonal relationships between myself, every person I encounter, including my family, has improved. Even my ex-husband has improved drastically with this emotional intelligence that comes with being in the divine feminine. So divine feminine gives you high emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is more important than any technical skill in the world. They have done studies on this after study, but focusing and going in and learning it before you react is part of it. So any questions before I head on out? Some of you guys are late, but any comments? How'd that strike you? Did you understand it? Like how you feeling about it? Is this something that you are on a journey for? Did I make sense? Did I say it in a way where you can understand where I'm trying to go with this? PB says, it's amazing, isn't it? I'm also on a spiritual journey as well, but my mother has a stronger gift than me. Oh, well, that's beautiful. That means it's in your lineage, baby. And if it's in your lineage, that's the strongest when it's passed down, not something newly acquired. Yeah, no, yeah, it is absolutely amazing as a woman who can be very much in her masculine. This whole feminine thing is just, I love it because when I go on these dates or I'm with these men, or even when I was with my soulmate, that's like 2-3 hours of complete lack of tension. And even when something goes wrong, like you know how to handle it in an emotionally intelligent way. That's what it means to be a divine feminine. And it's funny that I attracted all these emotionally intelligent men. I was like, oh, this is so great. And now I'm the person that has it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow. And that's just from the divine feminine journey. Now, I've been at this for 2 years and I'm still learning and growing. So this is not something that it's something that we need to start as soon as possible because it takes time. They teach women in other countries, especially in the Eastern Hemisphere, about this once they're a little girl and up. So I'm trying to teach my daughter that. I tell you guys the story. I'm teaching her, instead of screaming and crying, you could have thought about that and work this to your advantage, right? Having her stop and not act emotionally is like where I'm doing this now, but not because it's to turn off emotions, but to understand if you take a moment and think about it and go inside and just feel it out, you can have another way of getting what you want that doesn't come across wrong because you're so emotional, which turns people off. She's 4 though. She only gets a little. Well, here's the deal about little kids. They seem like they only get a little, but they actually get it all. So I know I had some conversations with her 6 months ago. I was like, dang, you heard it all, huh? It looked like it just went over your head. So that is what I'm doing now. So PB, are you a boy? Are you a man or a woman? I can't tell from your profile. Melita, are you still up? I'm about to go to bed. Oh my gosh, I talk so much, but I just have to make sure you understand this in a visceral way. So it's not this weird thing anymore. There's no shame in the masculinity I've held. Okay, there's none. That stuff is amazing. Helps me great at business and getting things done and checking things off my list. But there's a balance needed to do it. To cut it off when it comes to people. Cut the masculine off when it comes to people. Get into the feminine. Men, women, child, all of it. All right, I'm gonna go. It's late. Love you guys. Bye. Oh, people, you're okay. Okay. All right, talk to you later. Have a good night, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate that. More is to come because it's on my heart. And I want to give this to every woman out there who's looking for the knowledge because my knowledge comes from, it's channeled, it's experience, and it's learning from other coaches and listening and taking courses. And so all of that, for me, I know a lot of people don't channel as much information as I do. So I know the information, I'm getting it directly from the source. I'm getting it from Oshun, who's like Netru, in the Kemet tradition. You know what I mean? I'm getting it direct from the source. And so I want to show that other spiritual, and I hope you guys recognize I bring the spiritual primordial. This is how we were made to be. This is how we were made to interact in a cohesive, mutually beneficial circle. But we both have to be in our parts and learn our parts. And that's what we're here. Goodbyes. Oh, bye. Good vibes. You know what I mean? I was actually going to call the people who follow or who comment and attend. I was thinking of calling them the high vibe tribe. What do you think of that? Y'all like the high vibe tribe? Not always high vibe, but for the most part, we're high vibe. I attract high vibration, people. That's it. So we'll give that a. Okay, my cat's trying to bite me. Probably those little spirits that have been making all these noises and starting stuff in my house. I swear, I have friends that come over and know what I do, and they're just like, "What are these? What are these sounds, Lisa, in your house?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe a spiritual being, maybe settling. At this point, I don't care because they're not going to do anything to me because they don't want that smoke because I know how to cleanse my house. High vibe. You like that? That's cute. Yeah, that's what I think. High vibe tribe. Because I think of you guys as my tribe because I don't just meet people. I attract the people I'm meant to meet who I have soul contracts with. Generally, because I have a high attractive power, that I can send out into the universe. So when I meet people, I call them tribe because it's we know each other up there. Even if down here, it looks like we might have just met online. So that's just not the case. And when you've been in this game long enough, it's not. So I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. And I have more videos coming. Bye.